If I've learned anything in 35 years of professional fishing, it's that knowledge is everything. Knowing where the fish are, how to catch them is everything. On this week's show, I'm really excited because we're going to pass along a lot of knowledge that's going to help you put more speckled trout in your boat. This is going to be a lot of fun. Fox Sports Outdoors is on the air right now.
It's time for your weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news from the Southwest region. This is Fox Sports Outdoors.
Hi everybody, so glad you're along with us for this week's episode. If you like catching speckled trout, you're going to love this week's show. Why? Because we are going to load you up with lots of solid information that you can use to locate and catch more and bigger speckled trout headed into these cooler fall and early winter months coming up. And to do that, I'd like to welcome you in right now to one of my favorite speckled trout fishing hotspots. This is the Trinity Bay system. It's located just east of the Houston-Galveston area on the Texas Gulf Coast, and it is home to some excellent speckled trout fishing. And to help us do that, one of the best trout fishing experts that I've ever met, Captain Tim Young, is going to jump in the Mako Pro Skiff 21 and help give us all the information we need to go and catch some trout today and to help you in the next few weekends coming up as the weather cools off. And while we're out doing that, we take you around your local region, your local lakes, rivers, and bays for your fishing reports for this week from our expert team of insider reporters. We are in for a bunch of fun today. Let's get out in Trinity Bay right now, and while we're doing that, let's get you started with the Weekend Planner back at the FSN studios.
The Salooner tables are predicting fair game fish activity for both days of the weekend, and peak daylight times for fishing are expected to take place around the dawn and dusk hours. Sunrise will take place at 7:27 with sunset occurring at 7:02, and the moon will be 55% illuminated. Stay with us for regional fishing updates from all of our reporters, and I'll return with 2015 Classic champion Casey Ashley on this week's Ask the Pro. Back in a bit.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Excite AGM Marine Batteries. Starts like new, stays like new longer. Motor Guide Trolling Motors, because accuracy matters. Nitro Performance Fishing Boats. Champions aren't born, they're made. And Fox Sports Outdoors is driven by Fort Worth Nissan and Lone Star Toyota.
There's one, Tim. All right, there's a trout.
A little speck.
Okay, it's a start. All right, everybody, welcome back. We've made it out, and I've caught a trout. We're out on Trinity Bay, and as soon as I get him loose, I'm gonna give you a quick look at him right there. There's your Texas Gulf Coast speckled trout. We're not keeping him today. Back he goes. And we've been joined in the boat by Captain Tim Young. Tim, step down just for 1 second. I know we're in fish, but I want to just set everybody up on the first important thing about fall fishing for speckled trout, as we promised. Where are these fish? It's a migration deal. Where are they moving from, and where are they going to in general?
You bet. Most of the time these fish are moving towards your estuaries, your marshy areas, where you have shrimp, shad, etc. coming out of the marsh as the water temperature cools. And these fish know that's happening, so they're moving up there to meet them and eat them.
It's always about food.
You bet.
But they're coming from structure, deeper offshore structure, like well pads, drilling rigs, oyster reefs, wrecks, any kind of structure. I guess they've been living out there deeper trying to stay as cool as possible,
Oh, you bet.
and that's where the bait is.
Yeah, and they're moving to where most of the bait is going to be, and that's where all these shrimp are coming out.
So your first point is you want to try to stay ahead of that migration wherever you live, whether it's along the Gulf Coast, the Atlantic coast. Be in front of that migration. Be in a place where the fish are coming to you. So try to figure out where that migration is. And here in Trinity Bay right now, we're right in the middle of it. They've actually they're kind of leaving that deeper structure. They're not quite up in the marshes yet, up in the really shallow stuff. So they're kind of in transition, but that's where they're going, up in the shallow stuff. We'll talk more about what to look for coming up in just a little bit. Got to start That Captain Tim Young here, my good buddy for many years, trout expert extraordinaire. Let's get you some fishing and lake reports to get you started right now.
Hi folks, this week's Lone Star Lakes is once again brought to you from the good folks at Breckland Ranch. Now they know that big game hunting is a very personal experience, and whether you want a big whitetail, an exotic, or one of the other species on the Breckland Ranch, they will do everything they can to make your hunt as personalized as it can possibly be. Give them a shout for your Texas hunting adventure, the Breckland Ranch. Now this week we've come to Grapevine Lake, located just inside Grapevine, Texas, between the Dallas and Fort Worth Metroplex areas. And the reason we came here is just to demonstrate some of the urban fishing opportunities that are available. Grapevine is like hundreds, maybe thousands of other lakes across Texas that are very closely located to population centers and yet still have plenty of good fishing. We caught sand bass today, over 100 in less than 2 hours, by fishing deep structure about 25 feet where the humps come out from 35 and 40 feet of water. It was a simple matter to drop slabs down, jig them off the bottom about a foot, and load the boat with sand bass. Now you can do this at many lakes just like this all across the great state of Texas. And over at Lake Louisville, another urban impoundment, they have a fantastic hybrid bite as well. More or less the same principles. Find the structure, drop the slabs, you'll catch your hybrids. Try to get to these lakes on a weekend when they're not quite so full of the recreational boaters. That's this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by the Breckland Ranch, your Texas hunting adventure. Now let's check in with Mr. Bill Olson. He's on the coast.
Hi folks, this week's report is brought to you by Port Aransas on Mustang Island, the fishing capital of Texas, where anglers enjoy pristine bays, estuaries, 18 miles of surf, and the deep blue waters of the Gulf of Mexico. Plus the local restaurants will even cook your catch come sundown. Come fish and play Texas Island style. For more information, visit portaransas.org. Well, this is the month coastal anglers anticipate each year. October is arguably the best month of the year to fish Texas coast. Water temperatures are still warm, cool fronts blow fish out of the marsh, and birds are working with fish feeding in advance of winter. Patterns are fairly simple. On the upper coast, look for working birds or slicks indicating feeding fish. On the mid-coast, look for slicks, sight casting to fish or pods of fish, and setting up around the mouths of marsh drains to fish on falling tides. Now on the lower coast, specks are beginning to move up from deeper channels to roam grass flats and bars. Redfish are there too. This is the time to throw an unfair lure dog walker until your arm falls off. Also match the hatch and fish nervous bait. The bait's nervous because solid specks and reds are lurking nearby. This weekend, both Saturday and Sunday have a single tide schedule of one high and one low tide each day. I'm Bill Olson, and I'll see you on the coast.
Like most families, the Gibsons in Bastrop, Texas lead busy lives. But a few times a year, the Gibsons take a break from their busy lives.
Nice.
And get even busier.
Okay, everybody all set?
Yep.
They volunteer for the Texas Parks and Wildlife Coastal Expo. 3,000 kids come out over 2 days to learn about the natural world.
I'd say it's probably about 60 to 70% of the kids that come through there have never either been fishing, they've never been to the coast.
It's exciting, it is hard work, but we get so much more out of it than what we really put into it.
If we didn't have volunteers like the Gibsons, we wouldn't be able to reach all the kids and provide those first-time experiences outdoors.
Just as soon as we have a wave go down, is pick them all up and wash them as fast as you can.
I'm a very mousy person. I tend to be quiet and soft-spoken.
Just a little bit. I think it looks awesome.
I'm volunteering. I'm a completely different person.
And then you take it and throw it out. Look at that.
I get a lot more out of it than just sitting at a computer or Xbox for an hour.
Awesome.
I get 100% more out of it.
Kids are going to find value in what you find value in. If you're on the couch 24/7 watching whatever it is on TV, they're going to follow suit. We try to get our kids out, get them engaged, get them plugged into the outside.
Every hour is worth volunteering when you see the kids get happy.
Awesome!
You can't put a price on coming home and going, that was so much fun, that was really cool.
Working as a team brings our family together a whole bunch.
Just do it. Don't overthink it. It's so much fun.
There's one. Oh, that's a decent trout. Behind the boat. He's running. Come up here. Here he comes. Wow. Wow, what a cutter upper he is. All right. That's a decent trout right there. Settle down, fella. Man, all right, well, we have another trout for you right there. And we've changed. Welcome back, everybody. We're on Trinity Bay today with Captain Tim Young. That one's got a mouthful of my plastic shrimp tail. Actually, it's a swim tail so far down in the back of his throat. But that's a good fish. I'm going to have to do a little surgery on this fish. But while I do, Tim, step down. I want to ask you something. So we talked earlier about locating the fish in the migration, where they're going to be moving as the water cools. They're going to be moving back to the mouths of the estuaries and the bay systems and the creeks where the shrimp are coming in. Once you get into those areas, you know you're in fish. There are two ways that you've already taught me today that you can actually pinpoint the location of these fish. What are those two ways?
Yeah, I mean, fall means looking for birds for a lot of people, fishing the birds, where these trout are actually chasing the shrimp up to the top, birds are on top of them. It's a dead giveaway.
And we've got some shots where we did run up there and just showed some of those birds diving at the water. So that's a dead giveaway. You fish right under those. Be careful. Run your trolling motor very quietly in there so you don't spook them, but you can catch them that way. Yeah. And then the other thing is what we're doing right now.
We're working slicks. These fish start feeding and they start basically burping. It's some oil that comes up from the fish and makes a slick on top of the water. Read them, watch them. They'll start popping. And you just go right to the freshest one. It'll look like the size of your boat. When you see it come up, get right to it and start chunking.
So you see all the rippled water, all the wave action, but you see a slick spot right in the middle of that, be about the size of your boat. Ease up to that, fish on the upwind side of it. That's a great way as well. All right, back that fish goes. See ya, partner. All right, we got a little action working out here on Trinity Bay. Right now it's time for more fishing reports from your local lakes, rivers, and bays.
Hey friends, Cajun Phil here with your Fox, Louisiana Fishing Outdoor Report. I tell you what, I just got off the phone, talked to a good friend of mine, Jamie Hogue. He's down in Delacroix, Louisiana right now. Jamie said that down there, most of the water's a little off color, kind of bad, but he said you talked about catching some redfish down there, and they're catching big old redfish. Down there, they're throwing them on Johnson spoons. A little further south, Houma, Louisiana is doing really well. Shell Beach is doing good. I tell you what, saltwater fishing is on fire. You want to catch something, you need to come to Louisiana right now. Keep in mind, Flounder Run is only right around the corner, just about another month away. The big old flounder are going to be coming out of that marsh. We're going to be snarching and yanking them. As far as the bass fishing goes, talk to some guys that just fished the Red River up around Alexandria. They're going down the river, they're hitting these little channels, going back into the back of the bays, and they're catching nice bass back there. They're throwing spinner baits and little creature plastics, pitching them next to anywhere that you see a stump sticking out of the water. That's where they're catching their bass by. I tell you what, fishing's great right now. You ought to really get out and enjoy it while we've got this beautiful weather, because I tell you what, pretty soon it's going to be too cold to get out there. Give us a call, 337-540-5530. Come on down to the Cajun Paradise Lodge and Charters and do a fishing trip with us. You'll enjoy it and you will come back. Till next time, this is old Cajun Phil for Captain Kevin and all of our guides. Saying happy fishing, may God bless it. We're going to see you folks next week.
There's another one. All right. Got a couple of fish working in here. Made a big, long cast with the wind out there. Well, he's no monster, but he would be another keeper anyway. Well, we're going to go to a quick commercial break right here, but before we do, let me tell you that we've had to move around a lot today. That's your next key to finding and catching a lot of these trout in the fall, is that you've got to move. The fish are moving a lot. The reason they're moving so much is they're chasing down these little balls of shrimp, little balls of minnows about that big, little shad, and they're herding them around. You saw all the bird activity. In fact, there's a couple of boats fishing birds just right on the other side of us here, but I didn't want to get in there and crowd them. And so just kind of roam in the area, but you've got to move a lot. This is not the type of thing where you want to anchor up, throw live bait out there, lay it on the bottom and sit there. Not that kind of fishing. Move, quick cast, change baits, fly around to different areas. We've probably hit 30 or 40 spots just in a half a day so far. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Tracker Boats. It's more than just a boat, it's a tracker. Costa Sunglasses, see what's out there. Mercury Marine, official outboard of Fox Sports Outdoors. And Lowrance Electronics, find, navigate, dominate.
Whoa, there's one. Yeah. All right. We've got one. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Still on Trinity Bay today, and as you can see, there's a trout. And we're gonna let him go back right there. As you can see, we've lost Captain Tim. Captain Tim Young is not with us right now. He had some prior commitments and had to hook him out of here, but he was with us for a few hours and passed along quite a bit of information, showed us around Trinity Bay some. Let me give you a little bit of explanation about technique right now. We talked to him before he left a lot about the fact that these fish are migrating, they're active, they're heading towards where the bait is coming out of the marshes. So you can't see it, but back here behind us is just solid marsh, and that's where all the shrimp have been spending the summer. And as the water cools down, they're going to pour out into this bay. So we're positioned out on the mouth of that. But here's the deal. These fish are very active. They're feeding, so you want to use a very active presentation. Let me climb back up here on the front deck and I'll show you something about what I'm talking about here. You want to make a big long cast with a plastic shrimp tail on a lead head, a crankbait, a top water, whatever, and you want to keep it moving. So what I'm doing, shake that rod tip and turn that reel handle. Shake the rod tip up, turn the reel handle. Shake that rod tip up, turn the reel handle, and you keep that bait moving. They're not on bottom. They're up in the water column, feeding up, chasing bait to the surface. So you want to kind of mimic that, mimic the shrimp and the bait that the fish are feeding on. Quick little pops of the rod, let it settle back. Quick little pops of the rod, let it settle back. Keep that bait moving fairly quickly. That's your technique for catching them in the fall. Fast presentation. Hey, let's get you some more fishing and lake reports.
Hey, all fishermen know that docks attract fish, but not every fisherman is able to get his lure back under those areas where fish like to hide most. There's a technique designed specifically for doing that called dock shooting. It's basically launching a lure bow and arrow style so that it skips and flies into those tightest spots back up underneath those docks. Terry Blankenship is a true expert at that. He lives on Lake of the Ozarks in Missouri where there's lots of docks. He visited Grand Lake this past week to try his technique here with some new LaRue and Bobby Garland baits. Had a really wonderful outing. Concentrating mostly on docks that had deep water in the main lake area from Governor's Island to the mouth of Honey Creek, and looking for docks mostly that had the big swim platforms. Now Terry found the crappie were suspended about 15 to 20 feet deep, so even when he got back up under those, he had to let his baits sink that deep to be able to catch fish. Here in the next 30 to 45 days is truly one of his favorite times of year to dock shoot. Those fish get really shallow, and all species. He caught some nice crappie doing this, some big old white bass doing this, and also caught a number of spotted bass, all in the same techniques, the same lures. He likes to use a lot the 2-inch and 3-inch Bobby Garland slab slayers. On this trip, we also presented him with some new Bobby Garland and LaRue shooter baits designed specifically for this purpose that are designed to skip perfectly and make it easy to get those baits in there. You can catch them probably on most of your lakes that have docks, but you can't catch them if you don't go.
There's one, I got him. All right, fish on. Little trout, there he is on top of the water right there. Come aboard, buddy. All right, well, that would be a keeper, even though he's barely a keeper. There's a trout. Back he goes, we're not keeping him today.
Be sure to join Fox Sports Outdoors again next week, Thursday at 5:30, or catch the repeat airing Saturday morning at 8. And you can always watch the latest episode in full HD on the front page of our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com. Plus, catch up on all past episodes by clicking the archive button, and see lots of how-to and product videos by clicking the how-to button. Also, stay up to date with the latest fishing news, videos, and photos by clicking the follow button on our Twitter feed, and get lots of that same info by clicking the like button on our Facebook page. Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day. Lose, fueled by passion, driven by innovation. Feel the difference. Gene LaRue and Bobby Garland Lures. With our baits, a good day of fishing is in the bag. And Strand Fishing Lines, the standard of dependability.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's get right to your Ask the Pro question for this week. Floyd wants to know, do bass feed more aggressively when it's raining or not? For the answer, we asked the 2015 Classic champion, Casey Ashley.
When it's raining, bass are a little more aggressive. You know, the only time that it will actually hurt you is if you're on a strong topwater bite, like where you're catching them all day. If it rains, it will completely shut those fish down. You'll think there's not even a fish in the water anymore. But, you know, warm weather, like it's a thunderstorm rolling in, as soon as it passes, most of the time they'll pick it right back up. But during a rainstorm or a thunderstorm, it'll kill a topwater bite dead.
Thank you, Casey. If you want some help from one of the pros, go to foxsportsoutdoors.com and follow the Ask the Pro link to submit a question. Now it's time for the Costa Catch of the Week, where someone wins a new pair of shades.
We are back at Thompson's Fishing Camp at the boat ramp at Trinity Bay on the Texas Gulf Coast. And as always, it's time for this week's winner in the Costa Catch of the Week contest. He is Wyatt McNallen of Bowie, Texas, showing a 41-pound blue catfish he caught at Arrowhead Lake in Texas. If you'd like to be our next winner in the contest, just go to our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com, click on the Costa Catch of the Week area on the right side of the front page. You'll need to be 18 years of age to enter, and whoever's in the photograph also needs to be at least 18 years of age. And if you'd like to see all of the Costa frame and lens styles, go back to the front page of our website, click on the Costa logo, you'll see them all there, including the frame style that I was wearing on this week's episode. This is a new one called Raphael. Next up on the Academy Right Stuff, you can use either a bait caster or a spinning rod and reel to catch these speckled trout. I used for the bait caster a Lew's Custom Speed Stick series. It's a 7-foot medium light action rod made specifically to do this, and I had it rigged with the Lew's Super Duty bait cast reel. Again, it's perfect for this inshore saltwater fishing. For the spinning rod, I use the Lew's TP1 Speed Stick series. It's the white rod, and again, it's the inshore model made specifically for this style of fishing. As far as the lure goes, most of the fish we caught were caught on a 1/4 ounce lead jig head with a soft plastic swim tail body on it. You can use a plastic shrimp tail. You can also catch them on top waters, but this is my go-to bait for speckled trout. Our vocabulary word for the day today is paradigm. Paradigm is basically like a pair of glasses through which you view life and the world around you. Did you know that you have mind habits? Your brain actually gets into patterns, and they can be either positive or negative. And did you know that they can absolutely impact everybody around you, your family and your friends? As a matter of fact, facial expressions many times give away a paradigm. They can either be smiles or frowns. It takes intentional practice to learn to view the world in a positive light and to look for the good things around you. Did you know that you can choose your paradigm? Which will you choose? From Trinity Bay, just outside Houston, Texas, on the Gulf Coast, until next week, I'm Barry Stokes. Be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all.